Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Going On Daily Live Morning Show. Yay!
Woohoo! It's July.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I really
I know.
cannot believe that it's July already.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Haven Shine. That's right. Let's go. So we've got some new stuff to hit you with. Obviously, new stories. But
Mm-hmm.
we got a lot of stuff going on. Captain Ron's been really busy, and there's new ways to see us, and we want to make sure that you're aware of all of them. But thank God, as much as things change, I am very glad that the one thing that hasn't changed is I can always look over and say, "Good morning, Lana Williams."
Ira, good morning.
Good morning.
And I missed you last week. We didn't get to do our usual thing last week.
Yes.
So hope you feel. I'm glad you're feeling better.
I heard something the other day, and I don't know if you heard it as well because it was pretty much all over the news.
Okay.
That as of, I think it was 2 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
we are now closer to the year 2050 than we are to the year 2000.
Yeah, I can't stand it. Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. Is that true? I think that's at the end of 2025. What are they talking about? We're
Well, I
still in the
guess,
first half.
what do you call it? We went like
Oh, because of because of the first day
over
of
the
that
half
year.
year
Okay.
mark. Yeah.
If you're gonna be mathly and technical about it, I guess that's true. But that's crazy. Yeah. It's just
You know what? If it weren't for those people, we wouldn't have half the stories we have.
no, that's true. Mathly.
Somebody
Yes.
taking the time to figure out something that we would never try to figure out on
But
our
honestly,
own.
I do love stuff like that. I'm a nerd, so that stuff is kind of interesting to me. So I do love it. But
Well, I'm
yeah, that
glad.
makes sense. Hmm.
Okay, so now you guys are gonna have to help me here. Pay
Oh
attention
God.
to the screen. Pay attention to the screen, please,
Look
because
down
we
here.
have new social media. So we have the following: we have Kick, we have Rumble, and we have Twitch, all at Rhode Island Broadcasting.
And
Is
YouTube.
that what it? Of course,
So
we have.
I think it's yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but listed down here. See, we had a little pregame meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what we had, but you know what? Look up Kick, YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, MeWe, TikTok, Blue Sky, Space Hay, and put in either RI Broadcasting, or for YouTube, of course, it's still Rhode Island Broadcasting.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going, well, I want to listen to the show, but I can't take the time to watch. A lot of us do. Oh, he's putting up more. He's putting up red
Yeah, there
circle if
was
I didn't
we just
mention
missed
that.
the last round. Yeah.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm on now. I got it now.
Okay.
If you want to listen and you can't actually watch, which a lot of people, it's a podcast, we know.
Right.
You can go to Spotify, Red Circle, or TuneIn, and you can listen to the podcast. Okay? One day I hope
Yeah.
to have all these written down in notes so I can do it better.
I know it's a lot, and it's yeah.
Be honest, Elena, how many of those do you actually know?
So every time I speak to Captain Ron about these, it's always like a new one, and I'm like, "What? What is that? Where
Yeah.
did that?" And I feel like that old person sitting at the bar that's like, "What are these damn kids doing now? What is this new thing? Newfangled.
I
It's
said,
newfangled."
how long did it take me for him to tell me it's called Space Hay? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, space? I'm like, okay, space. Hey, hey? Space Hay? I'm like, okay,
It's
so you're
and so
out
the
there. Join Space Hay.
right. I mean, the only reason I knew it is because we had a conversation about what there's a new MySpace, and we kind of went and we were messing around looking at it. This is a while back, so that's the only reason I remember that.
Oh,
And it was a conversation we had like probably a month or two, maybe even three. I don't know. It was a long time
God,
ago
I
that
remember
when
joining
he
it.
found it, right? And yeah, we were just like, wow, this looks a lot like MySpace. And so yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
Thank you, Haven Shine. Space Hay at RI Broadcasting. Yeah.
Yes.
But meanwhile, always remember it's still the same. Go to Patreon. It's Patreon at RI Broadcasting, and you can see our little logo there going on daily with the microphone. It's very well
Mhm.
done, and you can put that on a mug. You can put that. We got pens. We got stickers. You get magnets. You get merch, which is what helps keep us going.
Right.
So,
And yeah.
today's. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no. Well, before we get going, I was just gonna say, yesterday was 4th of July. So how was your 4th of July? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, you know what I did? I was by a very small barbecue, family barbecue by the pool.
Nice. Low
The
key.
only thing that put a little damper on it is, and we all have this. Well, you and I have this problem in common, which is when your dog's sick.
Yeah.
There's like a little damper. You got to watch them. You can't eat this. You can't eat that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was good. How
Yeah.
did you do? How are
I
you?
Everybody who knows me knows I'm a worker, so I worked yesterday. I didn't. I was just
I
my
kind of
normal.
figured.
Yeah. But I went not as a DJ. I have a tech support job.
Oh, nice.
I work for business tech support, and so my company will actually double or actually triple our salaries on holidays if we work them. So I work every holiday I can, and I work from home. So honestly, it's really not like gonna kill me. It's just a pretty slow day. I end up cracking a book anyway or something like that. It's kind of really laid back, and so
That's awesome.
that's what I did. That's what I do on
Are
every
you
holiday.
DJing? Are you
Hmm?
DJing this weekend?
Yes, tomorrow. So tomorrow
Oh,
I'm at this place called the Vanderbilt Newport Vanderbilt Grace Hotel, and I'm on the rooftop. So it's 5 to 8. So it's kind of the evening time, and people are up there eating dinner and drinking drinks and talking, looking over the top of the rooftop and all that fun stuff. It's yacht rock, baby.
Yeah. So
Yes.
come out and see. You didn't have to remember anything other than here is Lena. Here's her address. Here's the time. Go
Yes.
enjoy.
Yes. Exactly. Right.
And that,
So.
and I'm going to bring this up later on. I think we like to talk about the good old days.
Yeah.
So that's something that was then. It was, okay, I'm meeting you Saturday, 8 o'clock, this place, done.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get involved with, are you almost there? Are you? No, it was, you had to know they were going to be there.
Right. You would have a conversation, a pregame. My friends and I in the 80s on Wednesday at work. Shame on us, but we would get on a conference call, all of us from our jobs, and say, okay, now what's going on this weekend? What are our outfits going to be? So on the weekends, people were either, if they didn't show, they didn't show. You just would find out later on what happened. They could make it, something happened, something came up, but you couldn't keep track of where they were at any time like that. Yeah, it's crazy. You could do that now, but you could do that then.
And again, it's kind of funny that there's got to be a dividing line on our show of older viewers versus younger viewers, where the older ones are smiling, going, "Yeah, that was great," and the younger viewers going, "That sounds horrible."
Right. And we don't know from what we don't know psychologically, right? So we can say, well, I remember when I used to, plug in AOL and use dial-up and wait forever for something to connect, but we didn't have anything faster before that, so we didn't know anything different, right? So as much as it would be horrible to go back in time and do that, obviously we didn't. It was the fastest at that time that we had, right? So we didn't know. We would make jokes about it, Hey, I logged in and I started to put a picture or load a picture up, and then I went and I ate dinner and I took a 3-mile jog, and then I came back, and the picture was half done, and like that kind of thing.
Yes.
It took forever to do stuff, but it still was better stuff than we had before that. So that's technology, right?
I wonder, did we have more anxiety then? I mean, I like you said, we don't know what we didn't know.
I think we did, but for different reasons. I don't think we knew. Like, I don't think we had anxiety for technology so much, but we did have anxiety for. If you're a Gen Xer or you're a millennial or you're a boomer, there was it is, we talked about this in a past episode. This is a weird time or a different time for like a bullying thing for kids in school. But back then the bullies were in your face and you had no choice. The only thing you could do was fight back. You couldn't. So I don't know if
we
it's
had
better
the,
or worse because it stopped when school stopped. So even though you got your hide tanned at school, you still knew that when the bell rang and you got home, you were safe. Now it's 24/7. So I'm not sure. It's kind of 6 of one, half of the other.
Sure.
I don't know, but yeah, it's just it's so crazy to look back at history and see what what we used to do, see what
Exactly.
kids do now, and what trends and what changed and all that. It's that we're just on the edge of the bar with the two old people at the edge of the bar talking about these damn kids today. Remember when we were young, we used to do this and we used to do that. So that's where we're gonna end up. We're gonna end up at some. Well, actually, not anymore. But there used to be a corner.
No,
Everybody had a corner bar in their neighborhood, and there were like these two old people in there that would just
always.
talk about how everything was going too fast and everybody was crazy. And when they were young, it was simpler and everything was better. And there's probably a virtual bar somewhere we could all sit at, I guess now. Do that, right?
If there isn't, I think we're going to open up a virtual bar now.
I think we will. I mean, why not? We already have this podcast. We could totally set up a virtual bar. We can
And
have
you
a
can
virtual.
DJ.
Yeah, I could virtually DJ. Somebody could virtually bartend. Right?
You know, my favorite part is now of this show is that we're like 10 minutes in and we haven't done one segment.
No,
yet.
I know. But I really wanted to more or less catch up though. Of course we went off on a tangent, but I wanted to just say how
we're
your
always
holiday
off the rails.
was.
Every
I know.
Saturday, we're
awful.
going off the rails.
It's awful.
So to get back on the rails, it's Saturday, July 5th, and here's what we want you to know. Lana, you're first.
Okay. Speaking of years ago in history, I found this story about a time capsule. Right, so there's a man who he opens a time capsule from 2000. So first of all, I have to laugh when I see these stories because I'm like, 2000 is like, what? 2000 isn't long enough ago, is it, for some kind of a time capsule, right? But that's the story, right? So this guy, he dug up a time capsule that he and his brother made 25 years ago. And again, when I was a kid, it probably 25 years probably was enough to put something away and say, hey, let's check back in 25 years, right? But still, for us older people, it's kind of like, that's not enough time. Leave it in there for another 25 years, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, the 1980s were just like 15 years ago, right?
I know. Maybe 20. I know. It's crazy. So the capsule's contents, after a nostalgic trip back to the 2000s, which is still, like I said, still funny to me, packed with items that'll transport you straight back to the turn of the millennium. It's kind of like a, looking at a picture of it, it's a crayon time capsule. It's like a round tube. It's plastic, and it has Crayola on the outside of it. And it's literally a time capsule. I don't know. I guess they donated this time capsule to him, right? His name is Father Dylan Schrader, right? He works as a pastor. And he posted pictures of this on X, or if you just kind of Google it, you'll see real quick the pictures that he put up for the time capsule. But he chronicled his adventures about what happened when he put these posts up on social media, right? So there was some bewilderment about its appearance, right? So this is what the article is saying. But anyway, he said, my brother and I both made one on the verge of the new year, and I originally had the idea of burying it somewhere, but for whatever reason, that never happened. So they didn't bury this. They didn't put it underground. They just put it aside somewhere. And then I guess went back and forth several times about should we just open it. But they, coached each other into not doing that until they needed to. And so among the items were an AIDS leaflet.
Really? Okay.
Yep. A booze and drugs pamphlet. I mean, that makes sense. Cause the war. I mean, I'm trying to think at that time in 2000 where we were at with like the war on drugs and alcohol and things like that.
Yeah.
Right? So,
sealed shelf.
Yeah. Half finished personal details booklet. Some floppy disks, which I think is funny because.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, and I don't know if they were I'm a nerd that goes all the way back to the punch cards, but there were at times the little small floppy disks that we used were actually more compact than the actual huge ones that looked like 45 records at one time. So I'm not sure. I think they were the smaller ones they would have had to be for this.
Yeah, I think we were using, what was that, like M? Oh God, it was like not
Yeah,
MP3.
3.5. Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
1.4, I think, and 3.5, something like that. And then Polaroid pictures of his childhood house and a cassette tape.
Okay.
And then he had more throwbacks that were, let's see, a letter addressed to the people living in the future, right? Contained a chilling question about what the world might look like today. So here's what he wrote. I wrote to those who can't write back. What is the future like? Is it 1984 Brave New World future? Or is it a happy future? Um, from an age of free speech, religion, and rampant capitalism, where are we in the world at this point? And to you, I send the message of God, love, and of peace. Guy's a pastor, so that's what he would do. And so, as I fill this capsule, I say to all of us today, yesterday, tomorrow, peace out. This cassette tape was marked as an introduction in his own script. He remarked, apparently, I recorded a message and some music. I'll also have to try to find some way to access these discs, floppy disks, if they still work. And then he said he played the tape. It starts with reading from a Calvin and Hobbes strip.
Ooh, okay.
And then continues with the references to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Not 2000. That's earlier than that.
I know, but I guess maybe, I don't know, it was a big thing and hit the time for him.
Yeah.
And then a poem, musings on the future, and then into a song by Alanis Morissette. They do not say what song that is, but who knows? But I thought that was interesting, and I was just kind of like, I thought it was interesting for people that are my age that would find a time capsule from 25 years ago to be like not completely useless, but like it doesn't seem like it was long enough for like anything to be groundbreaking. But then who knows, right? Nobody, that was a teenager then, maybe, or somebody that was like, in their early childhood at that time, maybe would find it interesting. So I just thought that was an interesting story.
Technology moves so fast now.
Right.
I mean, think of how long it took to go from 8-track to cassettes, and then it took a long time from cassette to CD.
You forgot reel to reel and all that stuff.
Although you're going way, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, it went from, what was it, sharing to iPod to streaming like that.
Yes.
So
I mean, Napster and
oh God, yeah.
What was the other one? They were torrents.
LimeWire.
I forget. Well, LimeWire. There you go. Those are the two major ones, and that was a big deal. But think about how I remember at one time like that. I remember a kid from Brown University, and if anybody wants to, I'm from Rhode Island, so of course it makes more sense to me. But if anybody's interested, go look it up. Got sued from Sony. I think it was Sony, where they went after this kid for file sharing.
He had gotten too much. He had gone everything.
And so, I mean, that was a big thing back then where people did not want you doing that stuff. They wanted you to go buy an album like you used to.
Of course.
And it was no joke if people were file sharing, but file sharing was so easy. It was like, anyway.
Well, I'm thinking, okay, so it's the year 2000. I think they needed to have a Blockbuster video card.
Yeah. I agree.
I think they needed an iPod.
Yeah. Yes. What generation of iPod would that have been? I think they had the Nano, or we had we maybe had the main one.
How old was my kid? I think we just had the big one. Yeah, the big one, and maybe the second generation, which was the skinnier one, which held more.
Yep. The Nano was like 2005 or something, or I think.
Am I right that like the cell phone for everyone didn't really come out till the 2000s? So I'm thinking one of those flip phones where you had to, like, the only game you had was Snake.
Yep. I forget the name. There is a specific cell phone that everybody had, and I can't think of the name of it, but it was like, I don't remember what brand it was, but everybody had it. I know StarTacs were big, and I don't remember if and Razors kind of were maybe big around that time.
Ooh, isn't that also the time that Razor scooters came out? Oh, Blackberries were
big. PDAs were big, or PD.
What?
Wait, what are they called? Palm Pilots, but they were called.
Oh yes.
I forget what the acronym for those were, but Palm Pilots were big because before it was a personal data organizer or something like that. But anyway, Palm Pilot was the brand for those things.
You need a CD, or I guess it wasn't a CD. No, it was CD from AOL with like, here's 500 free hours.
Yep, here's all your hours. Sign up today. One of those.
Oh my God! It wasn't always like it was. CDs.
Some kind of a.
Music,
you had to have some kind of a Y2K something or other. Something had like.
Yeah. Oh my God! Yes.
You know, because
got mail.
Before, everybody thought it was going to be the end of the world, and for 2000, we were actually supposed to be happy we didn't all die in whatever the heck we thought was happening.
My ex-wife, she still works in IT for a major bank.
Okay.
But when we were married, she was working for a major bank, and she spent all of 99.
Yes.
That's all they did. Every day. Oh my God, we're preparing for 2000. We're preparing for that paid for our wedding. I mean, we were like, this is no problem.
Oh, it was
Everyone
crazy.
was worried about that. What else? Flip phones.
That's why Office Space was so great, because that was what that whole movie was based on. You know, a bunch of guys changing code to prevent the end of the world in 2000. Yeah.
Whenever we had performance reviews, we would sit there and go, "Have you seen the Bobs yet?"
Yeah.
The Bobs are coming in to review your
Bobs. Hi, Bob. Bob. I love that movie.
This is my stapler. Don't take my stapler.
Yep. Stephen Root, what a great guy.
One.
Yes.
Heelys.
What were they?
Do you remember those? That was like they came back for a while. The sneakers with the wheel and the heel. Heelys.
Yeah. Okay.
And they do it through school, and you'd be like, "What the hell are they?" And Razor scooters.
Yeah.
But not the ones that you see now. We're talking about the original Razor scooter, where it's just you actually had to push on the Yeah. I'm thinking. I'm going back to my daughter's childhood.
I could picture that in my head now. Yeah. Like what was, like, because my sister and I were all grown up by then. So
yeah, by then.
Maybe my niece was born in 98, so she was too young. So we couldn't really work with anything that she had either at that time. I mean, she was still Elmo and Teletubbying and all that stuff in 2000. So she was really
Elmo stands the test of time, though.
That's true.
Like, you put it in Elmo 50 years from now, there's going to be Elmo somewhere.
That's true. Well, you would hope so, but you never know, because look what happened to Teddy Ruxpin. Right? That was a big thing at one point. Teddy Ruxpin was creepy, and he was possessed. That thing would wake up at like 3 a.m. and start talking. From what I didn't have one.
Oh, did you have a Furby?
I did not.
I got a Furby.
That was after my time. Furby.
Furby was the 90s. I'm pretty much saying.
Okay, would be my sister's
guessing,
probably. Yeah.
And we got one, and the big thing was you could teach it to talk, and no one had the.
They would talk to each other too. Remember?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we would do like you said with Teddy Ruxpin, 3 a.m. Shut the hell up! Throw it against a wall.
Yeah.
Why do we have this demented thing?
That's so
crazy. Chucky doll.
Oh my God, Chucky doll. Oh my God. There's another thing you could stick in a time capsule.
So let me ask you, what would you put in a time capsule today if you knew you were going to open it 25 years from now? 2050.
Let's see.
So something that you think isn't going to be used in 10, 20 years or whatever.
Oh God, that's the thing. I probably everything.
Yeah.
Definitely an iPhone.
Yes, you have to.
I would definitely say an iPhone, probably the 13. Maybe a 13 iPhone.
Possibly.
Something like that. DVDs are gone. I mean, those don't really. Everything is digital now. That's the thing. Anything related to technology almost is like it's virtual. So it's like, how do you do that? Probably pictures of things, maybe. I don't know. Let's see.
What are they building now? Good morning, Becky, by the way.
Good morning, Becky.
what are they building now that we don't think is going to stay? Wow. You know what? Pictures of, but they're almost gone. Mom and pop stores instead of everything's Amazon, Walmart, and
I would
Depot.
say whatever the last of the, and honestly, mom and pop stores. I think unless you're living in a really artistic area, where everybody is trying really hard to continue throwing money at that.
Yeah.
Even box stores. Like I probably would put box stores. I don't know how I would do it.
That picture.
The department stores that we were growing up with, those are going now. So I would say, and even the chain restaurants, things like that, those are going.
Oh.
So maybe like rewards cards for those things, or like a Kohl's card kind of thing, because Kohl's is on its way out, or already has gone out, I think.
A Hooters menu.
A Hooters menu, because Hooters is, I think, pretty much gone. But like that kind of thing, all the stores that would have been anchor stores for malls.
Hell, a mall.
Yeah, something having to do with a mall, like a mall. Those things they would hand out in the malls, whether they would be they'd have those little, you'd be walking through the mall and they'd give you either rewards for a specific store that had a sale, or like a brochure or something that would show you the layout of the mall, something like that. That would show you, you are here, but here's the second floor, here's the first floor, here's where all the stores are. That's actually something that I would love to find now. Because
that's cool.
Just to like look at what layouts of malls were, because I think most of them are. There are some that are still open in this area, at least anyway. But most of them are gone, and even if they are open, all of the stores in those brochures are gone. So those.
Ron went really dark. He said coastal cities will be gone.
Well. Put a coastal city in there, maybe. Yeah, I mean, we do already know that most of the places we went when we were kids are already, what do you want to call corrode? They had a lot of corrosion in places like that already.
So. Oh my God! So now you go out.
How about we put a human in there? We don't know that's going to be around either.
Oh God!
I'm going real dark, Ron. Let's put a person in there.
So what are we? The Morlocks and the Eloy. If I'm going to the Time Machine book.
I don't know what you mean. I didn't hear you because you started cutting out.
I'm sorry. Do you know the book, The Time Machine?
No.
You don't know that? It goes into the future.
I've heard of it, but I've never read it. I don't know.
It goes into the future where there are like people who live on the surface and people who live below the surface. So we totally separate.
Oh, okay. Yep. Nope. I didn't. I know of it. Like I've heard of it, but I don't know the details. Anything that's too sci-fi, I kind of skip. But I would say Wall-E was not off the mark, man. It really wasn't.
Which is sad.
No, it really is. It's.
Oh.
Tackling in NFL will be gone. How about referees and referee scores and things that they're able to flag are probably going to be way different back in that point. They changed a lot of stuff already in sports like that. So.
Well, they're already talking about replacing the umpires with technology for the strike zone. So
then there was that was it in China or Japan that soccer game that was just like all robots?
Yes, they just had
and it looked like foosball to me.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
And they have also in China, if you saw the movie Real Steel, where they have the boxers that are controlled, the robot boxers.
I didn't see it, but
by men. They have that now. So,
I mean, on one hand, boxing it really is. If you look at Muhammad Ali and his youth and what boxing did to him, it's definitely something we don't want people to go through. It was, it was horrific. And even CTE, now that we know about it, and football and hockey and what guys go through getting their heads bashed all through, their careers.
Well, Ron's reminding us that bullfighting is gone from Mexico, but they still have it in Spain.
I think I really don't honestly like football. I never liked that. I don't like bullfighting. I think
it always seemed very cruel, but hey, there are people, the running of the bulls in Pamplona.
Yeah.
There are people there who are like, okay, you're going to get hurt. I don't
Right.
care.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like. I personally don't like putting animals into any situation that they're not consensual about. I know that doesn't sound like it makes sense, but they don't know what's going on. Somebody just shoved them into this circumstance, and that's not fair to them. I don't think. You know what I mean? They're not signing up to be in that nonsense. So
Of course
that
not.
bothers me. Anyway,
Now we're going to move on to the next topic.
yes, tell me.
And it's going to pretty much be seamless because when Lana and I get together, we naturally talk about our past.
Yeah.
It's a particular set of skills. These are things that, well, we've been talking about how technology has advanced things.
Mm-hmm.
But when we didn't have that technology, people our age had to develop a simple set of skills to survive that are no longer needed, but we still have those skills.
Yep.
So, first of all, let me ask you a very simple question.
Okay.
If you were taken, and I'm not wishing it, no.
I hope I could give a very simple answer to this.
If you were arrested and they said, you get one phone call, do you know anybody's telephone number off the top of your head?
A couple, not a lot anymore. Maybe a couple.
How many?
A couple, probably two or three. Like my sister.
Good.
My niece. A couple of like close friends, but that's it. Because when I was a kid, we knew everybody's number by heart, but everybody had a phone in their house, so that's a different story.
Yep.
Now it's cell phones, and cell phones, first of all, are a different number than we're used to from that person anyway, and then people change their numbers all the time, and so, yeah.
Let us know in the chat, by the way, how many
Yes.
telephone numbers do you know by heart? Because other than mine, I know my daughter's, and that's it. So if I'm screwed. If I'm going to jail, it's going to be, I don't know.
What about Empire? Hey, but Ron, what about Empire? 800-988. You know that one too, Ron. Heaving shine.
So Empire, call us up, and we know your number, and we'll be happy to spit it out. Let's see. So remembering telephone numbers is something we all had to do.
Yep.
When you went to school,
Mm-hmm.
they told you needed to cover your books, but nobody went out and bought book covers. What did you do, Lena?
We used paperbacks from the grocery store and newspapers.
Bingo.
Newspapers too.
I know how to call Jenny, 867-5309.
Oh boy.
By the way, a tip, if you ever go into like Rite Aid or CVS, wherever they want you to sign up for their card, and you want the card for rewards, but you don't want to actually give them your information, almost every one of them, if you walk up and they go, I'm registered. What's your number? And you give 867-5309, somebody has done it. So somebody has already signed up.
Not surprised. Yeah.
There you go.
That would make sense. That's so funny.
But you were absolutely right. We would go out and get a newspaper or get brown paper bags.
Yeah.
And cut them up and make them fit perfectly.
I don't know why they would. I guess they wanted us to protect the binder, right? Is that why? I'm trying to remember now. Okay.
Those books would be passed down. The first thing you did was you'd open it up and look to see if you knew anybody who had this book from you.
Yep, that's true. Okay, I forgot that part. I was like, why were we covering books? I don't remember. But if they were given to us for the season or for the semester, I guess that's why. Okay.
I remember my daughter. I remember the first year my daughter came home in middle school, and I'm like, okay, where are your books? I don't have any. What do you mean you don't have books? Well, they're all downloaded.
Yeah.
What? I'm like,
I mean, amazing. I get it. It was because we became Hulkamania. We became because we were carrying 3 and 4 huge books all the time everywhere we went. So I get.
We had to go to the locker and change out books.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh, and the locker combination was another thing. Is that on the list?
No, it isn't, but that's a good one.
Yep.
Yes, we all like to know that one. Let's see. Oh, giving your television set a karate chop because the reception wasn't coming in correctly.
Yep. And the foil.
Yes. the foil, and for us kids when we were kids,
Right.
we were the remote control.
Yes, we were.
Our parents would go change that to 11.
Yep.
Okay.
Get up.
Gotta do that.
Over there. Change that to channel 6.
Okay. Here's one that I don't understand today.
Okay.
Making correct change when you go somewhere. You purchase something. Have you ever seen they're like, oh, here's $5 and a dime, so I can get back $1, and the teenager will stare at you.
I've actually done that, and I've said this more than I care to admit, but I've said this. Don't think about it, honey. Just ring it in. Don't think about it, honey. Just take what I give you.
Let the machine do it.
Punch it into the machine, and don't worry about it. Like, stop trying to figure it out. Just, because you don't want pennies back, and you don't want nickels.
Exactly.
So, I mean, now it's so crazy. There was a point in time where a friend of mine said to me, everything's going to end up being like a debit card or a credit card. It's all going to be cash is not something we're going to carry anymore. And I went, that's ridiculous. What are you talking about? And she's like, I'm telling you, this was like probably 20 years ago now. And I thought, you're nuts. What are you talking about? It's never going to be a thing. I mean, now I still carry cash. I still use cash. So for me, it didn't change. But a lot of people really do just, straight off the phone or whatever the case may be. That's another thing that's crazy. But yeah, we used to have to know. I used to work at a theater, which I think I told you.
Yes.
When I was real young, I think I was 12, 15 maybe. We used to work at this local. They didn't have a cash register. Everything was in increments of 25 cents. So we had to know 50 cents back, 75 cents back. We had to know because at the end of the night, they counted the money and they counted the buckets. If it didn't match, nobody went home. We all had to figure out who gave out something they shouldn't have, who charged something they shouldn't have. Yeah, that's crazy. Think about the math we had to do back then. Right.
Oh, Becky says, the lady charged me $78.75 the other day. I gave her a $100 bill. She panicked. He didn't give her the change amount.
Right.
It's a quarter, and you're now rounded up. Come on.
I know, but it's so crazy.
Ooh, there's an interesting one. A barcode or a QR code tattoo.
Well, do you ever see, was it In Time with Justin Timberlake?
Yeah, where the amount of time you have. Oh, God. By the way, I did a story. I'm going to do a shameless plug for my other podcast, the Circling the Drain podcast.
Okay.
Where there was a story in Texas. All right, hold on. Go back to Becky. It was like $1.25. She got a calculator.
Well, from $100, that's not. It's actually
that's criminal.
Yeah,
that's criminal.
It is.
But there was a case in Texas where an ice cream man was beaten up by a local concerned citizen because he thought something was going bad when the ice cream man had a group of kids around him, and each kid would present their phone to him, and he was like, "That's not right. What's he doing? He's taking cash out payments." That's how they do it now.
Yep, it's crazy. I know. I mean, there are times when it's really convenient. Like, I don't like card readers. I have a problem with card readers. So when I go to places like, not necessarily indoors like a CVS or anything like that, but when I go to a gas station, I don't like card readers. That's where people rip you off. They'll put card readers on top of that and steal your money.
Oh yeah.
So I don't like running my actual card unless it's a credit card and I can I have some backup where I can go after them that way. So I'd much rather be able to tap or use my phone or something like that or hand them cash because I don't trust like gas station card readers. I never did, so
I have a friend.
That's convenient.
I have a friend who to this day, his check goes in direct deposit. He goes to the bank, he takes out everything and goes to each individual store and pays in cash. We always know, like when we buy tickets or something, he's going to come to you and everybody is, can I Zelle? Can I Venmo? Can I whatever? Yeah. He's giving you cash. And I appreciate that.
And, I got to tell you, yes, for some people, we don't want to I get that we're doing it, but some people I get why they don't want to change from that.
Yes.
Because that's in your hand. It's analog. It's in your hand. There's no qualms about what it is. There's no qualms about, did I pay it? You hand it over. You're done. Give me a receipt.
I already
End of story.
assume everyone has my information and they're going to do something or they won't.
Right.
Can you make, or could you have made, one of
Mhm.
those little paper fortune tellers that I'm doing with my
Yes,
fingers?
I still can make
Remember
them.
that?
Yes,
See, that's a particular set of skill. I
it
don't
is.
think kids today do stuff like, oh, let's make this, let's make that. Every kid our age knows how to make that S, like that block letter S.
Yeah.
God, I wish I could. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna draw
What
one.
about the Chinese well the thing the God we used to do it with like string and we used
Oh,
to do you
cat's
remember
cradle.
that? That we all called it something different. We didn't call it that, but yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, everybody would do.
Yep.
Come here, take your fingers, put them in here,
Yeah.
pull, and then somebody. It was a game we could play with yarn, for God's sake.
Isn't it funny because we were so young and we didn't have what people have today. So these are the things that we actually did to amuse ourselves, which is so
Yes,
funny. But it's so great in the sense that we had to use our physical skills for that. We had to use our brains for that. I don't know.
I'm telling you, I was a showrunner on a cable sports show,
Mhm.
and it was live. And we walked in, and they had a whole bunch of different sets,
Mhm.
and we were doing a show, just a regular panel where there are just four people around a coffee table, and they
Yeah.
have that. So I walked in, and I said, "Okay, well, I want to set up today with the coffee table." Oh, they sent that out for finishing. I said, "So what are we? We don't have anything." I said, "Yes, you do." I went in the back. Before you knew it, I took suitcases, threw what do you call it? Tablecloth on top of it. Make this, put this around it. We learned how to think on our feet, and
Yes,
so
we
that's why
definitely
it
know. We knew how
works.
to like pivot, even though that's a joke. But yes, we learned how to pivot based on what we were handed.
We knew how to text with just 10 keys.
Yeah.
Remember? That's it.
Well,
That's
we
it.
had to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sentences,
my generation didn't
paragraphs,
text at
didn't
all.
matter.
You know what I'm wondering? What I just I think that the Gen X kids we really dealt with the pandemic much better than everybody else. I really think we
Oh,
did.
sure.
Because we were used to that, sitting at home, watching TV, sitting at home, reading a book, sitting at home. We used to that thing where we were as latchkey kids, we were home alone so much that it sounds crazy, but that's something that we had in the back of our minds that like we learned like riding a bike. So
Yep.
when the pandemic happened, we were just like, oh, we'll go back to that again, and we'll be fine.
I'm gonna play Atari for 6 hours anyway. I'll be fine, just sitting there for a while. Then I'll read a book. Then I'll ride a bike.
Yeah,
My kids are bored all the time since they've grown up with phones. They can't be without the phones for a minute without extreme boredom setting in. There you go.
yeah,
It's that simple. I mean, we used to play games, driving games, just to pass the time. Oh, state license plate,
yeah.
punch buggy. I mean, invent something to pass
My
the time.
grandfather, who I lost when I was like 5, my grandfather used to have us look for Volkswagens. That was his thing.
There you
He loved
go.
Volkswagens, so we just all we did was look for Volkswagens, different colors, and we kept track of like how many we saw and what colors they were. It was like a really silly game, but we loved it. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Uh, okay, this is something you might not understand.
Mm-hmm.
When we needed a book, there was this place. It was a magical place. It was called the library.
Yeah, I still have
And
my
you,
library card. Yeah,
oh, I have mine too. I've
yeah,
actually been in the library. They updated them. They're, pretty cool place if you want to go.
yep,
But we had to learn something. So you didn't just walk up to someone and say, I need this book. No, 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 no. There's a card catalog, and each card, it was called the Dewey Decimal System.
yeah.
And people are going, Boomer, you're showing your age. I don't care. I'm proud. I was able to decipher. You go to this section, you go to that row, you go to that shelf, you go to number 12, and
Right.
there it is.
Like how else they had us? I mean, not how else. I mean, the Dewey Decimal System and the person who created it is a whole nother story. But you know, in the libraries that I don't know if they're. I've not been inside my library because I use an app and I take books out and read them with my app. I know
Of
it sounds
course.
crazy, so I do that digitally, but I haven't really walked through my library, so So I don't know how different it is now. But what we used to have as kids, or at least our school libraries, they were pretty huge, especially in our high school.
Yep.
So they had to. There was what else were they going to do to come up with a system to keep track of everything that was in there and who was taking what and how long it was gone and just like I would imagine Blockbuster or a movie plays at some point, they had a different system, but they had to keep track of their stuff, or they would never see it again. So yeah,
see,
the library was
by the way, we're not
religion.
bashing on the new stuff. We use the new stuff.
We do.
It's just we're going back to well, this is what we had to do before that.
Right.
Do most kids now, can they write a check? Can they mail it? Do you know where to go to get a stamp and don't say, well, I know it's supposed to. Do you know how to use that machine? To get the stamps?
Yep.
Do you know where to write all your information?
Yep.
These are things that we learned and you had to know.
Yes. Yep.
Going back to our toys. Our toys were great. Did you have Shrinky Dinks?
I did.
See,
I did.
Do you want to explain what Shrinky Dinks were?
Okay, Shrinky. I don't even know. Like when you think about what we were doing, I don't know if kids today would even find it useful.
No.
But Shrinky Dinks was like it literally was probably like you could buy different cartoon characters. Like they had stuff that was themed, right? So you had like say Peanuts, or you had like Tom and Jerry, or whatever it was, the cartoons that you used to watch, and they were literally like pieces of plastic that you would cut out, you would color, and you would put in the oven, and they would shrink down to like.
Yes, we were allowed to use the oven.
Yes,
at like 8.
Listen, we were all cooking and everything by then, anyway. But yeah, you would shrink down into something that you would use for something else, a keychain, I guess, or I'm trying to remember what we would use, our result for. Like it was like
it was keychains and just decorative stuff. You remember Silly Putty and getting the comic strips?
I had so much Silly Putty, I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you. That was like one of my favorite things to do was Silly Putty and newspaper. I loved it.
Again, two very simple things.
Off of everything was fantastic.
Yes. Two very simple things that kept you occupied and happy.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do they have? They have writing in cursive, which is a whole other way. Oh, here's a good one. Paying attention to where you're going so that you know how to go home. There was no GPS. There was no MapQuest. There was okay, we went by that building. Remember that tree with the funny part? And
if you're a hiker, you still have to use that skill. If you're hiking,
yes,
you still have to use that skill with weird things in the woods that you have to remember to circle when you're circling back. Like, all right, I remember this tree. I remember this particular set of rocks. I remember this. Becky wrote, libraries are a woke cesspool. I don't like going because it's just about the joy of reading. You walk in
Ron got rid of it.
Posters and flags of whatever woke thing is happening in the media. Okay. Yeah, I understand. And you can ignore that stuff. But
it is owned by the government, so.
Right.
They're gonna do what they do.
Right. Isn't that funny? But yeah, what was I saying? Did I just lose my train of thought entirely? I did. Yeah. Oh, when you were a kid walking to school. When I was a kid, we had I think it was under a mile you had to walk, or under 2 miles you had to walk, or something like that. There was some limit that you couldn't take the bus. So when I was really young, we all walked to school, and you had to walk to school with somebody else because they knew how to get there from the previous year. If you were like new in that school, if it was a junior high school or whatever, you would have to walk with that person and get used to the route of how you were going to do it. And then eventually it became like second nature where you wouldn't even really notice it. But that's how you figured out how to get to school and back. Unless you knew the neighborhood, unless you knew it really well from growing up, you would have to depend on. And yes, there's that thing where you're on a road trip and you go a certain amount of miles. You have how much, did you have to do this? How much gas is in your car? How many miles to the gallon you get? How much gas you have left before you have to stop at a gas station? Because I don't know how many people's gas gauges did not work back then. They're not like they are
And
now.
we didn't have a lot of money, so
Right. But also, like,
gotta
just,
figure out
just
how many
in general,
miles,
like,
how
you
many
just didn't
gallons.
want to be, you could not be caught on the side of the road with fumes. You weren't going to go anywhere. So you had to be very vigilant about how much gas you
Oh,
had
pardon me.
in your tank to get where you were going if you were taking long road trips. So, at least for me, because I had a car that didn't have a gas gauge that worked. So I had to know
I
how much
found that
gas
out
went
once.
in my tank, how much, I put in, whatever it was. I had to use my triptych to figure it out.
Oh, I was explaining to someone what a triptych was the other
Yeah.
day.
Isn't that
Before
funny?
MapQuest, you had to send away to AAA, so
Yeah.
they would send you a map to where you were going, and
Yes.
it was you would fold it, not fold it. You would turn the page,
Yep.
sort of like a book.
I actually loved it. I
Oh.
was a AAA member, so I used to go into the office and just be like, "Look, we're going to Florida, we're going to St. Louis, we're going wherever," and they would be like, "Okay," and they'd sit you down, and you would sit down with like a representative, and they'd be like, "Okay,
Yep.
what are you gonna? Oh, you're gonna need this map, you're gonna need this map, you need this map," and they would give you the maps of each and every state you were going through, and then a triptych that you would flip through like a binder.
Mm-hmm.
To
That was
tell
my
you which
childhood.
routes to take, which routes not to take. That was really great, but also,
Oh.
yeah, but I didn't mean triptych when I said that. I meant the thing that you do to reset the mileage, the thing that you actually hit on your
The
dashboard,
odometer?
odometer, but the one that you used. This we have the regular odometer that you use for your car for the
Right.
life of it, but then you have those two odometers you can use to say, all right, we've gone this many miles, we've gone.
Oh, yes.
That's what I meant. You have to like set that, like, okay, I'm
I
at
went
0
5
now.
miles, then we did this, set it.
Right.
Yep.
So anyway, but triptychs are another thing that were
I
so
love
crazy
those.
back then. We didn't have maps. We had the
We
flip
had
through thing.
triptychs.
Yeah.
Do you know how to set up, or did you know how to set up your VCR to record a show at the right time?
I do now. I still do now. I don't do it. I don't have one, but yeah, I still
Oh, I
do.
still have one. Yeah, it's not hooked up, but I have one.
Yeah, I did for a while, for a long time. But yes, or
And
I
people are
actually had
going,
DVD recorder too. So
yes,
same thing.
but people don't understand what that meant
Yep.
because now you just hit a button and electronically everything pops in. But you had to know when the show started, and the sheer anger
Yes.
of if a sports
Preempted.
game went long or something happened, the president's gonna talk for 5 minutes.
Preempting. I hated it.
And your show, you'd watch 55 minutes of your show and you put it on for an hour,
Yeah.
and it was preempted, so you don't know the ending and you can't look it up.
Yeah.
And it was just,
and it's gone forever. Like just the idea that to tell young kids that the idea that, like, listen, when we were young, there was a show. It was on at 7 on Sunday on this channel, and that was it. If you wanted to see it, you had to be home. You could not be in the bathroom. You could not be making snacks in the kitchen. Like, you were going to miss the show if you were not in front of it. End of story.
Oh my
Like,
God,
that's so
everybody's
weird.
going to be watching Charlie Brown Christmas because it's Christmas.
Yeah.
And now you can watch it whenever you want, but you have to do it.
Yep.
Here's one
that's
that
what
I
made it great.
saved.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you did, because you knew everybody was watching it. That is what made it great. Here's something I've done with my daughter, and a lot of people go, we have our phones. But how many times I'm not getting service, I accidentally, the battery's drained. Set up a meeting point when you're going somewhere with your friends. We're at a concert.
We're going to meet back.
We got right. You know. See?
Yes.
It's not just me. We all did this.
We did that at Disney all the time. Disney and
Why
Busch
not?
Gardens and places like that. Because we would all get sidetracked and end up and go in different directions. And we had the buddy system. Does anybody know what the buddy system is?
Have a buddy. Have somebody with you.
Never go off by yourself. Always have somebody with you.
Yes.
Because when I was a kid, we grew up with the stranger danger. So that's why we had the buddy system.
Always.
People
you remember this? This is probably 90s, but I remember this. You're in your car.
Yep.
And before you get out of your car, you have to do a bunch of things to make sure your car was safe. First thing, you had to take the face off of your radio.
Yes. Went right in my purse.
What do you mean you take the face off? No, you took the face off the radio, and now no one can play the radio.
Yep.
So no one would steal your radio because that's what they did.
Pioneer and Sony, actually. I had both of those. Yeah.
And now you didn't want anyone to steal your car, so you put what on the steering wheel?
I didn't have one of those, but I know
You
what you
didn't have
mean.
a
I didn't
club?
have one of those. And I had a Camaro too, so I should have had one.
Oh, you should have had one.
It got stolen. So there you go. Yeah, but what were those called?
The club.
Oh, club. That's right. Okay.
You put it
I
on your
forgot about
steering
those.
wheel, lock it up. You had to do all this stuff before
What
you
was the
left.
one? What was the thing that you would put? Oh my God! Every low jack. That's what it was.
Oh yes, everyone had LoJack for a while. Let's see. Oh, going to a movie theater,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to get there early because there's no assigned seats. There's no buying tickets ahead of time. You
I'm
just
still
got there
blown
and
away by
waited.
assigned seats right now. I'm still blown away by that. And
I love them.
I love assigned seats so much.
So do I.
And here's why. I like the movies. I don't like people. I don't know what to tell you. So when I go to the movies, I would like a theater to myself. I just do. So
That's a fantasy of mine.
that tells me, and I've had it happen once or twice, where the theater is like empty with except for 2 people or something like that. That's
Yeah.
enough. I can handle that. As long as they're not talking to me and I don't have to listen to them and they, watch the movie. But I love to. You can actually now look and see how many people are going to be there before you get there, which is
Yes.
fantastic. You couldn't do that back then.
Nope.
You had to go to a matinee. The only way you would know for sure you would get a nice empty theater would be a matinee,
Matinees.
2 o'clock on a Monday or something. Then you might.
Yes.
That your chances are better that theater's empty, but you never knew.
Best I've ever gotten is 2 people in the theater, and I'm like, damn, why did they have to be here?
I know.
In
Becky's
Canada,
husband's
Becky's.
still close
Yeah.
his truck. Yeah. I mean, it probably is still around. I just never got one. I don't know.
And the final one on the list.
Mhm.
This is when cell phones first came out, and you had, believe it or not, you had a minute plan, and it was,
Yeah.
but at night, calls
9
were
o'clock.
free, nights and weekends. So you had, I want to call my friend, I have to tell them something, but I don't want it on my minutes, so I'll call at night. So you had to learn to postpone things. Things today, a thought
Delayed
goes in your head, it goes
gratification.
online.
Delayed
Yes.
gratification. I try to tell people in my life or people that I know how to do that. Like just how to do that. Like how to take 10 minutes and review what you're thinking if we're doing it. Just like how do you just stop for a minute and go, okay, I want to do this, but is this the right thing? Like will the consequences be okay? But yeah, we actually had to put stuff off, but we learned I think most of us probably still do act like that because we just
Yeah.
so when something doesn't happen when we want it to, here's a quick story. I was probably 2007, 2008. My friend Christina, who I love dearly, and if she's watching this, I'm sorry.
Shout out
But
to
we were
Christine.
driving to Georgia, and she was one of those people. She's very antsy. Christina is a very antsy person, and I'm more like a Zen person. When I get into a situation where I have no control, I go into a second mode where I'm just like, okay, what can I do to like pass the time? Like I just go into this mode where I don't freak out because it doesn't make sense to do that. It just doesn't. It doesn't help anything.
Nope.
And so I think we were coming back from Georgia and we were like in West Virginia or something. And it was probably still at the time where we had like OnStar, but I don't think we had any kind of, we did have maps, but I don't think, maybe we had navigation. We probably had one of those GPSs or something. And we hit
Oh, the
traffic.
Garmin that you put up on your
The
car.
Garmin.
Yeah.
We had one of those, I think. But we rented sometimes like my friends and I would rent when we drove out of town just because it was just easier. The car, you knew the car was in good shape. You had to worry about anything. And they usually had onboard systems that you could use that you didn't have in your own car, right? So I think that this car it was an SUV and I think it had navigation in it. But anyway, we stopped in West Virginia because it's like some kind of thing happened and there was like a 2-lane highway we were on and we had to sit there. And I just remember her freaking out. She was driving. Oops, I lost her. I mean, we lost Ira. Where'd you go? There you are. We lost you for a minute there. You're frozen.
Oh, not again.
Oh, no. Okay. Anyway, I'll just finish my story while Ira gets that straightened out. So we were sitting in traffic, and I just remember her going crazy because there was nowhere to go. Like, we were in traffic, and we couldn't move. And she was really angry with me because I was in the passenger seat, so I just cracked a book. Like, oh, we're not going to go anywhere for a while. The instant thing for me to do is pull a book out and start reading. I have a book with me everywhere I go, and now I have books online that I can just pull down and start reading if I want or whatever, just to keep myself busy. So I literally went into a book reading mode while we were in West Virginia, and then, that's what happened. So, um, anyway, that was the story of that. But that's what I learned to do as a kid because I was with adults all the time until my sister was born, like 10 years after I was, just about. So
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So I finished my story. I just wanted to, I was about to elaborate there a little bit, but I didn't know where you went, so I wanted to make sure. But yeah, as a kid, I learned because I was with adults all the time. I learned how to like entertain. I went everywhere I went. I went with books. So if you took me on a road trip, I was probably the best kid ever to go on a road trip because I would take 5 books with me, and you wouldn't hear from me. I'd be in the back seat reading. I didn't care where we went. I didn't care when we got there. Other than maybe I was hungry once in a while and I needed to hit the bathroom, it didn't matter to me. I was a very, very patient kid like that because I always had something to keep myself occupied. And so, anyway, yeah.
I was the opposite. My sister and I, we were the ones who were, get on your side of the car. You touch me. You touch me. Give me, that's my book. That's my.
I was an only child, so I didn't have that problem. Unless I was with my mother and my aunt and my 2 cousins. My 2 cousins were boys, and they were about 2 years apart. And when I tell you, my aunt and uncle came home and found like holes in the walls and all kinds of crazy stuff because they were, they were destructive kids. But so when
that's when you say boys will be boys,
right? And I was, I was around them a lot, and a lot of that rubbed off on me too, where I was just as bad when I was around them as well. But yeah, when we were all together in the car, that was a little different. But it was always just usually just me, and I had to be an adult young. Because none of the stuff they were talking about in the front seat was of interest to me. I was too young, and I was by myself. So I always brought books with me everywhere I went and just read to my heart's content, until I fell asleep. If I was tired, I'd lay down, and that was it. That's just how I was. So,
see, I always did that different, and and again, I think it's because of the timing. When my ex and I got divorced, and I would have my daughter, which was most of the time. At that point, it was Radio Disney was on. So I wanted to connect with her. She would share some of my interests when I wanted to listen. But a lot of times it was, I'm going to cater to you because I know you're going to be with me and mostly adults for a lot. And it helps because she, to this day, now that she is an adult, she knows how to handle this stuff. She knows how to talk to people and get, I have to do this rather than a lot of people who we were told a story yesterday about a 17-year-old boy who he felt bad about calling out of work, so he had his mother do it for him. And we were like, what?
Yeah.
That wasn't us.
Was weird.
That's not us.
Becky said my kids learned to eavesdrop. Oh, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Becky was saying her kids learned to eavesdrop pretty aggressively. They love the adult combos, and I kind of did too, but a lot of it was boring for me. It was either sports or, mortgages or finances, or just stuff that I just found at my age anyway, boring. Just boring. I didn't have any interest in it. But
see, that's just it. They love it because it's the eavesdropping aspect of, we're not supposed to hear this. When you're invited into the conversation, then it's this is okay. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff they talked about around me was that kind of stuff. They knew I was listening, but it was just so and so my electric bill, this, that, and the other thing, and my rent is due, and it was just, or hey, I'm paying less taxes on the house this year, just boring stuff. So I didn't care. But anyway, if I wasn't supposed to hear it, then yes, I was all about that. Yeah, but
there we go. Okay, Ron's already freaking out because, as usual, Lana and I have gone 2 topics in 1 hour. So we'll do one
today. Lana, you have it.
Okay. Well, this will be quick. Firefighters said this is a story about a crazy, it's one of those little local stories. Firefighters had to rescue a man who got stuck in the chimney of a Connecticut Parks building while trying to retrieve his dog from a bathroom when the doors automatically locked for the night. Police were called Sunday morning, I think it's the 22nd of June, to Rockwell Park in Bristol for a burglary complaint. We're told by Parks employees that somebody was in the chimney. Firefighters responded to the scene. A man got out after having to remove parts of the chimney in the building by the people that showed up, causing $5,000 to $10,000 worth of damage. The Bristol man, who was not injured, was arrested and charged with burglary, trespassing, and criminal mischief. And he was released on bond, and he's going to be in court this Monday. A message seeking comment was sent to an email address listed in public records for the man. The phone numbers listed were in service, but the man got stuck near the flue of the chimney near Mrs. Rockwell's pavilion, a building named after a beneficiary of the park. The locks on the doors in the bathrooms are on new timers and automatically lock at 10. And I guess the guy didn't realize that or wasn't prepared for it.
Oh, wow.
And so that happened. And so he's like, I got to get my dog out. So that was his solution to that, where he decided he was going to climb into the chimney and get it, right? So they actually, what ended up happening was they did arrest him, but it's kind of like one of those things like, why didn't they just call the police in the first place?
Right.
Right? Because like they would have been like, we would have just came out and taken care of it. Like what? He just
you don't have to climb up the chimney.
So he did it the hard way. But that story reminds me of another story. And in 2010, and I know this is just going to take a dark turn. Whenever I hear somebody climbing into a chimney besides Santa Claus, this is what I think of. In 2010, there's a woman by the name of Dr. Jacqueline Kodarak. Now, you need to go look her up. You probably have heard of her, maybe?
No, I couldn't even spell that name.
Okay. She was a medical person, so she should have had some common sense. But apparently, she was very obsessed with this boyfriend she had. And so she was stalking her boyfriend, who. Right. So anyway, she apparently tried to force her way into an on-again, off-again boyfriend's home by sliding down his chimney. And it was one of those things where she thought he was home. I can't remember the situation, but basically she didn't know he wasn't home or whatever, and he had gone out of town.
Right.
But she didn't think he went out of town, so he wasn't home. Nobody was there to rescue this woman. So she died of mechanical asphyxia. Her body was found in the chimney 3 days after the attempt. By the way, this is in California, where it's very hot. This is Bakersfield, which is a pretty warm area.
Yes.
So anyway, it's reportedly by somebody house sitting at the address. According to police, a 49-year-old woman first tried to get into the house with a shovel. Then she climbed a ladder to the roof Wednesday night, removed the chimney cap, and slid feet first down in the flue. And it's unknown if she was drunk when she tried to force her way into her boyfriend's house, but she had been drinking earlier in the evening at a restaurant, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
While she was trying to break in, the man said she was pursuing, escaped unnoticed from another exit. I'm sorry, that's right. He knew she was coming and he got out of there. He didn't expect her to jump into the chimney, I don't think. But she was trying to get into the house. Not. That's what it was. So they were in an on-again, off-again relationship, I guess, where she was a little bit too intense about him.
Well, if you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
Right. The man who resides in the home is William Moody, but they said that the man's identity wasn't revealed by police that she was going after. But of course, if you put the two to two together, that's probably who it was. She made an unbelievable error in judgment, and nobody understands why. And unfortunately, she's passed away. She had her issues. She had her demons, but I never lost my respect for her. Reached by telephone, he didn't dispute the characterization of his relationship. He said he would not comment on the circumstances that led to her death.
Okay.
Anyway, it was found that Saturday night by the house sitter who was at the house to care for the homeowner's fish. The woman smelled the woman like a body, or she smelled something horrible, and found her stuck 2 feet above the interior opening the fireplace and called police. So they spent 5 hours dismantling the chimney in the flue from the outside of the home to extract the body. Anyway, I'll never forget this story because I was just like, I know that there are women who are really interested in their men and like really want to make it work. But honest to God, this is ridiculous. Like, I just never, like, I mean, how did that do for the relationship she was trying to pursue? And that's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, every time I hear a person in a chimney, that's what I think of. I think of this woman. I think of Jacqueline. and her crazy pursuit on this dude that did not go well for her. Anyway,
Oh my God.
there's a dark turn we're looking for. I just thought I'd give that to you on a nice 5th of July Saturday.
Well, Ron put up the
Take it away.
comment. Did you
Yeah.
see Ron's comment
I didn't
about
get a chance to. I was
do
reading
we
something.
not know measurements? I mean, can you
Right.
look and just go, no, I can't fit down there.
I mean, the only thing I can think
Ah.
of, like this kid that I forget what college it was. This Wade, I forget his last name anyway. The kid that died in the electrical room in the college, that was
Oh.
drunk. I
Yeah.
wonder if it was just a drunk thing. Like it's almost like it would have to
Okay.
be that she was drinking. And I think if you're dumb enough to try it, you deserve results like that. But I'm wondering, like, was she drunk? I mean, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just
Could have
never
been on
understood that.
something. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe she was out drinking and just said, "This son of a bitch, I'm going over there tonight and whatever." And then she just got caught up in it. But she would have to. I would think you'd have to be intoxicated to think that made any sense. But anyway,
I won't
she
be
lives rent
ignored.
free in my head. Jacqueline lives rent free in my head. She has for 15 years. Because I just thought that was just it's just the craziest story
Oh.
ever. But anyway.
No, that's crazy. That's the one that jumps to mind right away is the woman who was an astronaut who was wearing diapers to go get
the woman that was wearing
revenge on her
Depends
man.
astronaut diapers.
Yeah.
To drive long distances to stalk whoever she didn't she
Oh God.
didn't she die too? And she was
I don't remember if she died or she got caught.
She was an astronaut that
Yeah.
that
Now
had
we
like
have to look it up.
awards, and she like was a well-known. It wasn't like she was just some crazy person.
Well, let's see.
Lisa Nowak, right? That was.
Oh, you found it?
Yep. I looked it up not long ago. I don't know why. It was for some other reason. She was a American
Lisa Nowak, yeah.
aeronautical engineer, former NASA astronaut, and retired U.S. Navy officer.
She is alive.
And yep, the love triangle that led to adult diapers. She later told authorities she used 2 diapers to avoid making pit stops to arriving at her destination around midnight, going up to some guy. She did not want to have to stop. She was on a mission, so she used 2 diapers.
Okay.
Anyway,
very simple. If they don't want you, you shouldn't want them.
It seems really common sense. It seems like common sense, but again, I just
the more you know.
Humans just fascinate me. They really do.
Emotions really do get in the way a lot of the time.
Right. My sister and I were talking about love bombing yesterday, and just like, how do people fall for this? Like, we just don't understand. If you don't know somebody that well, and they're telling you they want to marry you and move in with you, and like you're the love of their life, like clearly they're not well. Clearly they're not making any sense. Like
they haven't even seen you in every season of the year yet. I mean, come on.
If they've known you a month or a couple of weeks, like they just clearly cannot know this. And so I don't care how much you want to hear that stuff. It just can't be correct if you're hearing it, from somebody who just doesn't know you. It's the weirdest thing anyway.
I think Ron is doing the graphics version of playing us off the stage right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is that what that is?
I think so, because usually he doesn't put that up that early. On behalf of Wayne and myself, I want to thank you for hanging out with us. Be sure to join us tomorrow. That's right, this is a Sunday show now with the dynamic duo of Kenny and Captain Ron. They're going to be hosting. Lana, thank you very much. You want to give a plug to where you're going to be again?
So I'm going to be at the Vanderbilt Grace Hotel. This is in Newport on Mary Street. Be there tomorrow from 5 to 8. And then also check out my podcast, LanaandDave.com. We are still, even though we've lost Dave, it's still a really good podcast. And we got a lot of stuff that you would love to hear. So that's it. That's us.
There we go. And it's Yacht Rock, Yacht Rock, Yacht Rock.
Yacht Rock, man. We're going to listen to some Michael McDonald tomorrow. Yeah, we're getting into it.
I like that.
Yep.
You can visit me. My podcast is called the Circling the Drain Podcast. You can look it up anywhere. Just put in Circling the Drain Podcast and you'll get there. But remember, if you need some fun, join us because we've got it going on daily. Have a good weekend, folks.
Bye-bye.